I'll start by thanking Dean Kennedy for that most gracious introduction. Acting Chancellor Capone, Dean Kennedy, faculty members, the 2016 graduating class, proud family, and supportive friends. I am humbled to receive this honorary doctorate at my alma mater and to address you today at this convocation. As I look out this morning, I'm reminded of 40 years ago, 40 years and 3 days ago to be exact, when I was sitting in this same auditorium, eagerly awaiting my turn to walk the stage, to graduate, to turn to my life's next chapter. I was sitting next to a classmate, Nancy, my then girlfriend, my now wife of 39 years. As I look out today, she is it. I was not going to do this. As I look out today, she is there again, this time sitting with our 2 children, Christy and Jason, and their spouses, Jeff and Samantha, the parents of our 5 grandchildren. I look no farther to see my most important legacy. In my professional life, I've had the opportunity to lead 2 tremendous teams to build industry-leading businesses, Oxford Properties and now Kingset Capital. With Nancy, our community involvement has ranged widely, funding scholarships, research chairs, innovation programs, and seeking to help those less fortunate. I was delighted to chair the new Ivey Building Task Force, where we were charged with overseeing the design and development for the new building that you have all experienced, a world-class learning environment looking to the next 50 years. And so, I'm here today. As I thought of what I might say this morning, I wanted to give you one takeaway, one big idea to think about. So I'll share my view on the single most important differentiator that drives success as a person, in business, and in life. You're all bright with strong IQs, otherwise you would not be here. But intelligence is a base attribute and not the one thing that can differentiate you. You have survived the rigors of Ivey's case study method, learning to think, advocate, work as teams, and deal with uncertainty, all key elements of the real world that make Ivey so superior to textbook teaching in a world of Google and Wikipedia. But these alone are also not the key. In my experience, both my personal experience as well as watching others, some successful and some not so, the common trait of most all successful people is the same. It's not IQ. It's not just EQ. It's adherence to strong values. Now, some of you may be rolling your eyes. You're all thinking that you get it. You all know you have values. But let's unpack what I'm talking about. That actually wasn't the funniest line. In my view, but that's good. In my view, values have 4 critical components. First is respect. Respect of others. It's all too easy to dismiss an idea different than ours when perhaps more listening was warranted. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And when you're listening, really listening, you're respecting the other person. And respect is for everyone, spouse, family, friends, coworkers, customers, suppliers, etc. Thank a service provider and look them in the eye when you do so. Reach out to a friend or colleague who has lost a job or personal relationship and show care and respect. Show up on time. In fact, be 5 minutes early. If you respect my time, you respect me. Never be the last one to show up for anything. And respect people's differences. When I started leasing office space in my 30s, in my 20s, I was told we wanted $8.50 a foot and to ask for $9. So I went to my first small tenant, 500 square feet. I said $9. He said $8. I said, I'll split the difference, $8.50. He said, done. Second tenant, I said $9. He said $7.75. Thinking on my feet, I said, I'll split the difference, $8.50. He said, done. By now, I think I'm a genius. I go to the third tenant, and I say $9. And the third tenant was the largest tenant in the building, been there 35 years. Went to the third tenant, I said $9. He said, fine, I've got a problem. He was not a negotiator. So I ended up negotiating him down to $850. So, so then I went to the fourth tenant, and he said, "What's the rate?" I said, $850. And he said, $750. I said, "Let me tell you my story." So, and I've told that story lots of times. Respect is a cornerstone of behavior that underpins your family and your personal relationships. Those that show respect will get respect. So the second of the four is humility. If someone has to tell me how smart they are, I assume it is because I would not otherwise know. If someone has to tell me the scale of their possessions, I assume it is because it is their only redeeming feature. Humility can be the key to resolving a tough situation. In the early 90s, when real estate markets were at their most challenging, we got to a point where at Oxford we could not make an interest payment on a mortgage. I was terrified. I set a meeting with a senior lender, went to see him, explained our predicament, offered some ideas, some solutions, some options, apologized, etc. And when I left, he stopped at the door and said, "Thanks." And I said, "Thanks?" He said, "Well, John, let me tell you, there's three kinds of borrowers. First kind are people that borrow money and pay it back. We like them the most. Second kind are the people that borrow money and then they don't tell us the truth, they obfuscate, they hurt our collateral and so on. We go out of our way to hurt them." By now I'm a little tense. The third kind is someone that has a problem and comes and talks to us and is transparent, humble, has solutions and ideas. With those people, we work with them and we'll work with you. Humility and transparency built that relationship. Let results speak for themselves. It's much louder. Third is integrity. Do what you say and say what you mean. You often hear the mantra, under-promise and over-deliver. And that sounds good in theory, but I'm not sure Nancy would have married me if I under-promised in my proposal. And I can assure you that I've never won an important business deal by under-promising. This one is simple. Over-deliver, do better, add something extra, be creative, do it all with transparency and trustworthiness. You want to be known as the one most likely to do the right thing. In life, one gets exposed to many temptations, and it can be a very slippery slope. Accounting irregularities grew to consume a culture and created Enron. The push for environmental compliance conflicting with increasing performance standards exposed institutional acceptance of cheating at Volkswagen. The use of performance-enhancing drugs has escalated at the Olympic level to threaten the games. 20 years ago, I was working on a major law firm office lease, down to 3 points. We met on a Sunday night. We settled all three, shook hands. We had a deal. I got it done. Monday morning, I wrote it up and realized I'd made a mistake, a big mistake. I called my father for advice. Always a good decision. And his advice was sound. I called the senior partner of the law firm, told him we would stand by the handshake, but I'd made a mistake. Once he understood, he told me that because I was prepared to honor the deal, that he would make the change to fix the mistake, and the deal was made. And they're still our tenants today. The relationship continues. And the fourth is relationships, as nothing is more valuable in your personal and professional life than what bonds us to one another. A relationship defined is an exchange of value, not monetary value, but real value. Love, friendship, help, humor, support, guidance are some of the currency of relationships and what makes them and keeps them alive. Ask yourself this. When you recognize the sender of an inbound text, email, or call, do you rush to answer it or ignore it? Is your first reaction positive energy or negative energy? As you think about the relationships around you, do this phone test and do some remedial work where required. My wife Nancy is chair of the MS Research Foundation, which means we do some strategic fundraising. Just a couple months ago, I approached a long-term strategic partner of Oxford and KingSett, where subsequently Nancy and I made the pitch to have them donate $1 million to the campaign. Quite a big ask. A week later, the CEO came to my office, sat down, explained how important our relationship was to them, and said instead of $1 million, they agreed to donate 1.25. The relationship was so important, they wanted to exceed our expectations. For me, life's greatest wealth is relationships. My wife and family who sustain me, my business relationships that have allowed me to lead and build businesses, and my friends who know me for who I am and love me anyway. So there it is. From my experience, the secret to a successful life is adherence to deeply felt values: respect of others, humility of self, integrity, and building relationships. Today, you will all be participating in the Ivey ring ceremony. Do more than just show up. Think about it. Think about what it can mean to you. Think about when you were talking and perhaps should have been listening. Think about when you underdelivered, regardless of the promise. And think about the phone test. Think about what you can learn from these experiences, as those that can learn can evolve to do great things. And as you leave Ivey, reflect on your time here, who you might reach out to and thank, who made a difference for you. And a final thought: you also need to dare to dream, and dream big. You are on the doorstep of such exciting possibilities. I wish you every success in life and in your careers, and I hope at least one of you has the opportunity 40 years from now to come back here to share what you have learned with the class of 2056. Thank you very much.